So I bet a lot of you who play Hearthstone Mercenaries probably go against this guy and this guy quite a bit. And you may think that they're just absolutely broken and you might be surprised why they haven't been nerfed yet. But I'm here to tell you otherwise, because I think there is another underlying issue that's not being discussed nearly as much for Hearthstone Mercenaries. If you thought this video was fun and you want to see more like it, make sure you subscribe. Also check me out on Twitch in the link in the description. And as always, you look fantastic.
I'm a doctor.
If you did not know, or you've been hiding under a rock, or you don't play PvP in Hearthstone Mercenaries, there is a really good interaction in the game to basically close out games using Cairne and Diablo. The idea is to bring out Cairne first, you play Earth Stomp to slow down the enemy team, and then the following turn you use Endurance Aura with Diablo's Fire Stomp in order for them to just take a bunch of AoE damage, often doing a lot of damage and enough to kill off potential casters and potentially even more. And with the Black Soulstone, this is a very threatening combo because Diablo becomes so much more of a threat. Often when it comes to Cairne Diablo, because they come off the bench, it feels like they are much more broken than they actually are, because they're the reason why the games are finishing. Whether it's on you or you do it to someone else, people often feel like that is the reason why they're losing games, is because of Cairne and Diablo. I'm also not saying that either of these characters don't need slight adjustments. I think a very easy fix for Diablo either is to make it so he gets like +8 life off the Black Soulstone, or the summons that come from characters don't actually influence the health. I think that would be fantastic. For Cairne, you can make it so Endurance Aura speeds up your next turn's abilities. I think that would be fun. But I think there is a other issue that we need to focus on more. That issue is the current power level of casters compared to the other two types. From going through the casters list, you can kind of just pick off casters who are just much better than the average mercenary. Anduin, Blinkfox, Brukan, Cookie, Jaina, who I think is one of the best mercenaries in the game by quite a large margin, Natalie, Velen, Temzin, Varden, Vol'jin, even Zyrella, Uther, and even the bad mercenaries for casters are not actually the worst thing in the world. Like Gul'dan's not horrible. Guff is definitely playable. Morgul has a use case, kind of. Millhouse is RIP Millhouse. The idea I'm getting at here is that casters are very good, and quite literally casters start the game on the battlefield and not on the bench, unless you're going for a very specific thing, potentially like Brukan using Lightning Rod to kill a protector off the bench. This is one of the most popular comps and arguably the best comp in the PvP ladder at the moment in terms of openers. You have Vol'jin, you have Natalie, and you have Samaro. And this is a really weird consideration, because when you start the game, you have to ask yourself, who do I go for? Do I go for Vol'jin, who is causing the caster to be stronger, but also does a lot of damage? Do I go for Natalie, who has a bunch of AoE healing and AoE damage, as well as good single targets? Or do I go for Samaro, who's going to kill my casters, which the whole point of this is trying to defend them? A lot of the time, people will go for the immediate threat of Blade Master Samaro, because he is going to be the reason why your casters will end up dying. And if you don't kill him soon, he will gain a lot of stats with his Burning Blade and will consistently be a threat as long as he's on the board. This then leaves you with a very awkward board state of leaving Vol'jin and Natalie up, which are both casters, which will make your protector's life a miserable hell. And if you start to lose your casters and or protectors, you have to make a decision on how you're going to kill Natalie and Vol'jin, which it turns out to be you probably need a fighter. If you go through the list of fighters, a lot of the fighters are not that great at the moment. There's a couple pretty good ones, but a lot of them are mediocre at best and don't do enough to actually deal with the caster threat that you're against. Blade Master Samaro is obviously the best one here. Diablo is of course included into this list. Eudora I think is pretty great. You don't want to bring King Crush off the bench. Most of these are pretty mediocre. Like, you're not going to be pulling these off the bench at all. Sourfang, maybe, sure. Sylvanas definitely, but requires a lot of setup in time. Tavish is definitely one of the better ones that you could be picking due to their explosive trap. But other than that, there's not a lot of fighters that really save you from a potential just blowout from the caster opener. I know a lot of people are going to mention this or think about it at least, which is the beast comp. Now, the beast comp is definitely good against casters, but the thing is people are starting to learn how to play around this. By using Samaro to attack in early, you can make it so that your King Crush on your side doesn't actually hit their casters, which means it hits Samaro and it doesn't actually end up doing anything. On top of this, This gets absolutely destroyed by the nature opener with Malfurion because you just don't do enough damage, which leads the beast comp not the most optimal strat against these casters. Also turns out that a lot of the protectors in this game completely destroy fighters, which is their job, of course, but that also leads casters still being the best party in the game because they just don't feel threatened basically outside of Samaro. What are you gonna do once you're starting to lose the game against a bunch of casters? What do you do to catch up to the casters and potentially swing the game over to your favor? If you guessed Diablo, well, come on down. I don't know if that was cringe or not, but I'm putting in the video. You better like this video, I swear to God. The reason why you see Cairne in Diablo so often, and we really came full circle from the start of this video, is because you need to actually deal with the casters from the start of the game. And there's no better way to deal with them currently than Cairne, Diablo, and Cookie, because those are the three ways you could swing the game back into your favor. It turns out if you use Earth Stomp first, followed by Endurance Aura with Diablo's Fire Stomp, you could swing the game in your favor in order for you not to just lose to the casters on the opening. So Cookie is not only used in this case just for the appetizers, but also because their Go Fish enables an extra Fire Stomp for Diablo, but on top of that gives you a benefit, whether it is a 25 life refresh, some extra stats, or the 15 damage. All of them are great, and that also adds on to Diablo's Black Soulstone, which gives you even more health for Diablo. Now, to fix this issue that we see in Hearthstone Mercenary, which isn't inherently a big issue because there is a pretty healthy metagame at the top with Cairne and Diablo included, but it doesn't mean that we can't do anything to nudge into a better direction. One of the biggest things, and I think a lot of people are forgetting this right now, is we only have 56 mercenaries in the game. 56 mercenaries is not that many mercenaries in the grand scheme of what we're probably going to have down the line in order to find different solutions in order to solve the caster problem. Also, using different strategies and buffing different fighters can help enable a different way of dealing with the early game casters and switch the game completely on its head if fighters just become a little bit better. Buffing like they have been doing with Mutinous and Old Murkai is definitely something that can be considered, and I'm sure at some point there will be more buffs for the characters that feel like they're not good enough. One of the more band-aid fixes to have too is just lower the amount of speed manipulation in the game. I don't think really Vol'jin needs 3 speed faster for shadow abilities. Maybe 2 is completely fine. I'll let you guys decide on that one. That's gonna be the end of this video. I hope you found it enjoyable, and if you did, let me know. I would like to make more theory kind of videos like this because it's fun to talk about this game, and I hope you come away with this video understanding why Cairne in Diablo is played so much more, other than them just being absolutely broken. And if you think I messed up on anything I said here, let me know in the comments and I'll try to explain myself the best I can if I get the time talking about this video. But I appreciate your viewership, and if you got this far, you're fantastic, and I appreciate you watching this video all the way to the end. I hope you have a great day.